Hi everybody, it's Richard and I'm back for another video. I'll bet this is like the 10th time I'm trying to make this video. Hopefully it'll go well this time. I'm back for another Paul McCartney video. I'm back to talk about Paul McCartney's appearance last night on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert. This was Stephen Colbert's final show as the late night show host. And I say good riddance. I was never a big fan of Stephen Colbert at all. I never thought Colbert was funny. I never watched him with the Colbert Report either. I just don't find him funny or entertaining. I don't think he's a great late night show host. I'm not really into any of the late night show hosts either. Any of the other late night show hosts either. My favorite late night show hosts were, of course, the great late Johnny Carson, and then David Letterman. I think David Letterman did a great job as a late night show host. And the great James Corden. I thought James Corden was amazing. I loved him. I thought he was hilarious. I loved his humor. And I loved the carpool karaoke segment that he used to do. I love that. And then Paul was on that too. But last night was the final late night show for Stephen Colbert. And I don't think it was ever officially announced that Paul was going to be his final guest, but I think there were a bunch of rumors swirling around that Paul would be his final guest. And this is kind of historic because you know that this show is filmed at the Ed Sullivan Theater. So it was kind of a historic event. But Paul did show up. And like I said, I didn't really think any of the other stuff was funny. There were a couple guest appearances. I think, is his name Bryan Cranston? I think I'm saying it right, Cranston or Cranston. I do like Bryan Cranston from Malcolm in the Middle. I thought he was hilarious on Malcolm in the Middle. Paul Rudd was there. He made a guest appearance. Tig Notaro was there. I did enjoy seeing Tig Notaro. I like Tig Notaro. She's one of my favorite comedians. I think she's funny. She kind of has a dry sense of humor. You either get her or you don't, but I love Tig Notaro. So it was fun seeing Tig Notaro, too. But like I said, I didn't think any of it was really great except for the stuff with Paul. But Paul did come out, and I thought Paul was really, actually very funny in this interview. I did enjoy Paul in this interview. I thought he made a lot of funny jokes. I thought he was great. He didn't look very good. I didn't think he looked great in this interview. That's another thing I'm noticing with Paul. He is going to be 84 years old. You don't know what you're going to get from him from day to day. One day I think he looks great, and then the next day I think he looks not so great. On his appearance on Saturday Night Live, I thought he looked amazing. I thought he looked fantastic, and in some interviews I've been watching with him, I thought he looked great. On this appearance, I didn't think he looked so great. But I also think they put a lot of makeup on him, too. I didn't think the makeup artist did a great job with Paul, whoever the makeup artist was for this. So I didn't think Paul looked great, but Paul was in his usual form. He was great. He was funny. He was entertaining. He did a lot of jokes, putting a lot of jokes in there. In the interview, I was talking a lot there. Colbert asked him a lot of the same questions about the Beatles, which I get. This wasn't Abbey Road, Ed Sullivan Theater. So I guess that makes sense that they would talk a lot about the Beatles. But he asked him a lot of the same boring questions that we get in all the other interviews with Paul about the Beatles coming to America. And what was it like coming to America for the first time and all this same stuff we get. And Paul pretty much gave a lot of the same answers. But like I said, he did throw a lot of jokes in there, which I thought was good. And Paul was very, I think, entertaining in this interview. I liked this interview. I thought it was great. Colbert was kind of annoying while he was talking over Paul. I'm like, shut up and let the man talk. Let Paul talk and answer the questions. But Colbert was talking over him a lot, which kind of annoyed me. But overall, I thought Paul was great. He did bring Colbert a signed, I think it was a lithograph or something, a lithograph of the Beatles on the Ed Sullivan show, and he signed it for him, which I thought was cool. And he did talk a little bit about Ed Sullivan and what Ed Sullivan was like as a person, and he said Ed Sullivan was a really cool guy and a really nice guy. So I really liked this appearance by Paul. I thought it was great overall. The rest of the show I could care less about. I could care less about Colbert and the other guests. I didn't think any of the other stuff was entertaining at all. Like I said, not a Colbert fan, and I just didn't like the rest of it. But the stuff with Paul was great. Now, the thing I was wondering, was Paul McCartney going to perform at the end of this? And he did end up performing at the end of this. He ended up doing Hello, Goodbye, which I get. The Beatles classic, Hello, Goodbye, which I get. This is the last show at the Ed Sullivan Theater for Stephen Colbert, and this is the end of his run as late night show host. So I do get the song choice. I've heard Paul sing Hello, Goodbye a lot. His voice again was kind of rough, just like on Saturday Night Live. It didn't sound great, but I mean, it was okay. The one thing that did kind of annoy me with it was Stephen Colbert got on the mic and started singing with Paul. And then all the other people that were there, I think Elvis Costello was there too. Everybody just started singing along, and I couldn't really hear Paul that well, and it turned into kind of like a big celebration at the end, of like a final goodbye, which was okay, but I just would rather hear Paul sing it than everybody in the studio, and everybody in the studio came up on stage, which I found kind of annoying. I would rather just heard Paul sing the song, but overall it was good. It was okay. And then at the very end of the show, you see there's like a thing there. A thing there. I think, is it like a conveyor or whatever thing is when there's a switch and you pull the switch and you shut the lights off. And Colbert was going to do it, and then Paul comes over, and Colbert's like, okay, Paul, you do it. So Paul, like, pulled the lever, not conveyor. He pulled the lever, and he basically shut the lights off on Ed Sullivan Theater, and then the Ed Sullivan Theater disappeared. Now, I don't think this is going to be the final thing for the Ed Sullivan Theater. I do think eventually there'll probably be another host, because Letterman was the host at the Ed Sullivan Theater and then Colbert. So I do think eventually there'll be another host for another late night show at the Ed Sullivan Theater. So I don't think this is it for the Ed Sullivan Theater. But if this was it for the Ed Sullivan Theater, this was a great way for it to go out with Paul McCartney as the last guest ever there. But I don't, like I said, I don't think this is it for the Ed Sullivan Theater. But that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give my quick opinions here on this appearance by Paul at the Stephen Colbert on his last show as the last show as the host of the late night show, and his last show at the Ed Sullivan Theater. So let me know what you think if you watched. Did you enjoy it? Like I said, I really didn't enjoy Colbert, but I enjoyed everything with Paul. I thought Paul was great. I thought Paul was in great form here. He didn't look the greatest, but I thought he was great. I thought he was funny and entertaining. So that's my take on it. Let me know if you watched it and what you think. Did you enjoy it? Let me know in the comments. If this is your first time over here, please hit the like and subscribe button, and please hit the notification bell so you'll always be notified when I do a new video or a live stream. Until next time, remember, peace and love. Peace and love is the only way.